Good morning, guys, and congratulations for being here so early. I thought we'd be speaking to an empty room. Lovely to see everyone here, and great to be back in Las Vegas. I have very fond memories of the city. Last time I was here, I got married. I will try not to do that again, mainly because it will really annoy my wife. Shout out to her. And I'm here with three great guests today. Really excited to hear what they have to say. A couple of thank yous first. Huge thank you to Brian for subbing in. You probably noticed that he is not Stephen Lupka. Rather ironically, for a panel on health, wealth, and fitness, Stephen has been taken ill. So whatever he was doing is not working. But, fingers crossed for him. I hope he gets better soon. So guests, if you go down and give yourselves a brief introduction, and then we'll get going.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, I was unfortunate that Stephen couldn't be here today, but I'm happy to be able to fill in. I was actually going to be in the audience, so they just said, come on over here. Yeah, my name is Brian. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for Orange Pill app. I've written a couple books in Bitcoin called Bitcoin Evangelism and Parallel. But my pre-Bitcoin business, which is my kind of regular world business, is called Salt and Light Wellness. So we're a franchise that's based out of Southern California, and we do everything we can to mimic the sun and the ocean. So we do salt rooms and cold plunge and infrared saunas and vitamin D sunbeds mixed with red light therapy and all sorts of things. So that's my background, and I love being in health and Bitcoin, and I also run a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym, so I like fighting as well. I'm not good at it, but I like it.
What's up, everybody? I'm Paul, and I'm full-time working on a Noster client. Who here knows what Noster is? Let's go! That fires me up. I feel like, all right, that fires me up. I work for Primal. I live in Bitcoin Jungle, which is in Costa Rica, and I absolutely hate being indoors all day, but it's worth it to meet a bunch of lovely Bitcoiners. So I'm stoked to be here.
Hey, everybody. I'm Andy Schoonover, the CEO of Crowd Health. Do we have any Crowd Health members in the group? Yes, there we go. We're trying to burn down our existing healthcare system and build a parallel system. So we think it's better to be uninsured than insured, as you can see. T-shirts in the back. So I'm excited to talk a little bit more about what we're up to.
Fantastic. Thank you, guys. And also a thank you to you in the audience as well, not just for being here, but I always have to talk about policy and CBDCs and regulation. So I kind of feel we've more or less memed this session into existence. So if you've ever tweeted about steak, about walking, about sunshine, or even sunning your balls, then if you have them, then thank you as well. So maybe Brian, coming to you first. We had a brief chat backstage around your business. First question for you is really, could you unpack for us a little bit, sort of the intersection of what you do in your business and how you think that relates to Bitcoin? Are there any common themes that you'd like to draw out there?
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to I grew up. Ever since I was a little kid. I knew that going outside made me feel good, and I would tell my mom I need to go get my sunshine vitamins. I didn't know it was called vitamin D. I didn't know you got nitrocox. I didn't know any of this. I just thought I thought it sounded cool, and it was like a good excuse to go outside and play. But I'm like you guys. I mean, I grew up hearing that the sun was bad for you, that that there's certain things about our health that were just regimented, and it was the science and it was the fact. And as I got older and I started to ask what's in my food, what's in my money, that type of questioning, that line of questioning tended to spill over into other areas of my life. And so we built a business that was based around healthy exposure to light. I'm an outdoor natural sunshine guy primarily, but there's times when that doesn't happen. So we built a business around helping people that can't build their day around their sunshine exposure, right? We can't always, if we have a busy schedule, we can't get out in the morning, afternoon, and at night. And so we thought, hey, we can help supplement that. And when you're going out there and when you're preaching health to people, you're preaching anti-fragility. You're preaching to somebody, so it's like, I want you to be healthy so that you're not dependent. That's the core message there. And that's the line of thinking that permeates through my businesses. So when it comes to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I want the kids that we teach to be able to defend themselves, again, so they don't have to be dependent on somebody else. If somebody needs to protect them, that's great. But if push came to shove, they can defend themselves. When it comes to Bitcoin, I want people to know about Bitcoin so that they can be anti-fragile in their money. If we can be anti-fragile in our money in our health, in our physical prowess, then we're less dependent. And I think that there's a binary. The world's not about liberalism or conservatism as much as it is about centralism or centralized power, top-down power versus individualism. I think that that's the real paradigm shift. And anything that we can do to empower the individual, I think disempowers the system. And that's the universal thread I see through all of these elements.
Yeah, I love that. There's a really interesting intellectual thread, I think, that you draw there between centralized control and decentralized individual freedom and effectively taking responsibility for your own life, whether that's your health or your money. Paul, actually, I wanted to ask about you. You posted a really interesting post on X, but I'm sure you double posted on Nostr as well.
It always goes to Nostr first.
Yeah. I had absolutely no doubt. What was it? I think it was healthy social media, Nostr, healthy computer, sunshine, healthy money, Bitcoin. Could you sort of elaborate a bit on the thinking behind that post for us?
So yeah, the tweet was healthy social media, Nostr, healthy computers, the daylight computer, and then healthy money is Bitcoin. So this is the trifecta that I think about all day. So like Brian was talking about, with Nostr and Bitcoin, you get sovereignty, you have control. Like Bitcoin gives you control over your money. And with Nostr, you have control over your speech. And these two things, Bitcoin and Nostr, we've learned from like all of our evolution how money works, all the principles of money. And now we found it. Now that we have the internet, we found Bitcoin, and it meets all those principles. And we've learned from these rough times of fiat what we can do. So now we have Bitcoin, great. And now we have this short history of social media, and we're learning. We're evolving with social media. It's how we communicate with each other and spread information. And we've learned from the downsides of that. And now we have this new evolution, Nostr. And we have an ability to make it a healthier place to be in many different ways. And then the last piece, the healthy computers. We're just now getting to know that like blue light is extremely toxic. Being indoors is extremely toxic. This daylight computer is basically a Kindle. It's it has a reflective screen. It uses the sun to power it. And at night when you need a backlight, it has a flicker-free, blue light-free backlight that's healthier on your eyes. Rates of myopia are going crazy in the world right now. And this computer helps solve that. And they all may be married one day because there's some Bitcoiners in that company as well. So looking forward to that.
That's absolutely fantastic. I really love that. And if you're selling them, do let us know. I'd love to see where we could buy one. But,
yeah, daylightcomputer.com.
Fantastic.
Look into it.
Thank you. And Andy, you probably guessed from my accent that I'm a Brit. And like many Brits, I find the American healthcare system extremely confusing. So maybe partly for my benefit, would you be able to give us a bit of detail on the problems that you identified with the healthcare system that led you to create Crowd Health? And also, again, mainly for my benefit, how it actually works and how it differs from the existing system?
Yeah, sure. I think one of the greatest philosophers of all time, if not the greatest philosopher, is this guy named Paul. He wrote a significant portion of the New Testament. And one of the things he said was, for the love of money is the root of all evil. And you maybe say, hold on a second, Andy. It says the root of all kinds of evil. But if you actually go back to the original Greek, it just says the root of all evil, which means if you see evil in the world, the love of money is behind it, which leads you to this question of incentives. And you start looking at our systems, and I look at the healthcare system, and you start realizing all the incentives are against the patient and all for these mega corporations. And so when people say, I don't understand healthcare in the United States, it's so complex. When he's like, look, if you look at the incentive systems behind the healthcare system, it becomes very, very clear. The hospital systems, they're primarily the sellers of healthcare. They clearly want to get as much as they can for the procedures and the services that they sell. But few people understand that the insurance companies actually also want the price of healthcare to go up. So there's this interesting law under Obamacare called the medical loss ratio, and I won't get too much into it, but basically says if I have $1,000 of premiums, the insurance company can only make $150. So if you think about the incentive system behind that, where are the incentives? They want your premiums to go up. Let's say your premiums go from $1,000 to $1,100. Well, now they are not making $150, they're making $165. So all the incentives within the healthcare system are to see prices rise. It is not to keep you from being healthy. And in fact, they make more money when you're sick. It is not to get your bills paid. It's actually to deny your bills, because the insurance plan makes more money if you deny the bills. So if you think about the incentive systems, which I know we as Bitcoiners are very, very good at getting kind of the core root of what is the incentive system behind this, it's pretty easy to understand what's screwed up with the American healthcare system. So in essence, what we've tried to do with Crowd Health is totally demolish all of those middlemen, all of the rent seekers, decentralize all the decision making so that all the incentives are for these bills to get paid. We make a lot more money if bills get paid. We make a lot more money if you are healthy as opposed to sick. And so we're trying to change the incentive structure within healthcare to make it work better for the patient and not necessarily for the health insurance plans and the hospital systems. So just quickly, I don't want to take up too much time, but in essence, what we do is we have this community of about 10,000 people. 2,500 of them are Bitcoiners who are all funding each other's healthcare expenses directly to each other. So there's this sense of generosity that happens too. But the incentive here is, if I send a bill to you in the community and say, hey, will you help me with my broken arm? You can say yes or no. If you say yes, then you send me the money, which is great. If you say no, when you send your bill to the community, they'll know that you said no, 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 no to other people. And so the incentive, again, back to the incentives, is for you to help other people in the community. And by doing this, you're going to be able to, you have the cash now to go pay your doctor or the hospital directly. And as a result of that, they don't have to bill the insurance companies. They get billed immediately as opposed to 6 months later. And so all of this middleman rent seekers are eliminated from the system. And so our members are actually getting prices for procedures that are about 50% better than United Healthcare. So that's what we're doing in a quick moment, but happy to go into details.
No, that's fascinating. Thank you. So Brian, so coming back to you, you mentioned earlier about being sun-pilled and orange-pilled. Do you think, two sort of related questions for you, I think. Firstly, do you see a lot of crossover between those who come to your business as clients and Bitcoiners? And related to that, do you think there's more of a sort of a two-way transfer between someone who's a Bitcoiner and then may become sun-pilled, or vice versa? Interested to hear your thoughts there.
I think that probably the best way, at least what we see it in our business, is that we use our platform of being experts in health, because that's when a mom brings her children in because they have a cough and they bring them into the salt room to breathe in the salty air. We're doing something for their family. We're doing something. We're physically meeting a need for them. And so then when we have things of like, here's pay in Bitcoin or Bitcoin preferred or those types of things, and we get the opportunity to say, like, we would actually prefer if you pay in Bitcoin, and then they ask the question why. Like, it goes down this rabbit hole of, it comes from a place of them asking us questions about it rather than us trying to orange pill people via the fire hose. And so anytime you can try to orange pill somebody with them asking you the questions, that's the place where you want to be. I mean, think about it. Like, if you're missionaries go around the world to feed the homeless and clothe the people that don't have clothes, why do missionaries spread Christianity around the world by meeting people's physical needs? Because once you've met somebody's physical need, they want to hear what else you have to say. And so I'm a big fan of meeting their physical needs so that you can then talk about other things that matter. Money is certainly something that people want to hear about next. And I just think that there's a great synergy between those things. So I was that way. To me, it was health first and then Bitcoin, but I'm sure it could definitely go both ways. That's just my personal experience.
No, fascinating. No one likes getting a fire hose in the face, and I'm sure we've all experienced that. I have to keep my mouth zipped up a lot of the time. So, quick one for you, Paul. I obviously used to think I was in reasonably good shape until I started looking at your thirst traps of your abs on Twitter. So, and I'm obviously very jealous of your life down in Bitcoin jungle. Could you unpack for the audience a little bit around how your work on Primal and how your own personal healthcare and fitness regime interact with each other? And also, massive shout out to Primal, 100% my favorite Nostr client. So fantastic job.
Awesome. Thanks. Yeah, I don't really have much of a routine. Well, my routine every morning is just wake up and go surf. And when you do that, you are crossing off so many different things. Like you wake up, you get the morning light, then you go take a salt bath, then you have fun and community, and next thing you know, you're paddling and exercising. It's amazing. Yeah, and so down in Bitcoin jungle where I live, it's in Uvita, Costa Rica. We were just hosting for the last 3 months, just creators and friends at what we called the Primal House. And it's amazing because people can go experience what I think is like the end game of Bitcoin. We're going and shopping at farmers markets, paying vendors directly in Bitcoin. We're zapping each other back for the food and the taxis and the restaurants and everything. So we're basically like living in late stage Bitcoin already in Costa Rica. And it's an amazing experience. And it's like the lesson that you can take from that is every little interaction that you have with other people matters. And well, like the way we trade with each other, just accepting Bitcoin or passing Bitcoin between each other for services, and that kind of just compounds and actually using the thing.
I love that. The idea of being in late stage Bitcoin already. It's like that quote, the future's already here. It's just not evenly distributed yet.
100%.
I love that. Thank you. Andy, so coming back to you, and again, this is about the integration of Bitcoin with your business. I wanted to pick up on something you said a minute ago. Was it 25,000 Bitcoiners you have? Who are
2,500 of our 10,000 are Bitcoiners.
So in terms of, again, how Bitcoin is integrating into Crowd Health, to what extent are you able to pay for the service itself in Bitcoin? And do you think that creates a bit of a flywheel in terms of Bitcoiners coming to your business and your business growing and then drawing in more Bitcoiners?
Yeah, I think there's going to be an evolution in our business. Right now, the way that we work, kind of back to incentives is, when the health insurance, when the health insurance, they've got this population of people, and if they're healthy, they have low bills, then the insurance company makes more money. For us, we ask people to help somebody else in the community up to $140 every month, so you can help. Me with my broken arm, and your 140 will come to us. But if the community is doing really well, we're only going to ask for the amount of money that the community needs. So, for example, this month we're only asking for 90 of that 140. The remaining 50 gets transferred to your Fold Plus account and gets converted to Bitcoin. So you almost have your little like Bitcoin HSA. Unfortunately, don't have the tax or the benefits of that. But that's where we're starting. And ultimately, what we're trying to do is have Bitcoin circularity within healthcare. So if I can create a scale within the Bitcoin community and you all want to pay each other over Lightning, then we'll be able to do that. But we're also recruiting doctors and hospital systems who are willing to accept Bitcoin and Lightning, so we can have that true Bitcoin circularity within healthcare. And in fact, a couple of weeks ago, we haven't announced it yet, one of the largest hospital systems in the country has agreed to accept Bitcoin. And so if we can get a scale of people who are willing to transact in Bitcoin on one side, and then we have these hospitals and doctors on the other side who are willing to accept Bitcoin, then we can have Bitcoin circularity with the largest industry on the planet. We spend $5 trillion a year in the United States on healthcare. If it were a country, it'd be the fourth largest GDP. So we figured if we can get Bitcoin circularity within this huge industry, that will go a long way of Bitcoin being a medium exchange. So that's what
Fantastic.
we're working on.
I love it. And part of the process is normalizing Bitcoin.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I think that, everybody hears Bitcoin, even my family. When I go home, I give my family Bitcoin for Christmas every year. For the last 4 or 5 years, they're like, what the hell is this? And now they're like, do I get Bitcoin again this year? And that's why I have a bunch of my family members now who, every week put money into Bitcoin. And I think that if we can use Bitcoin within healthcare and show that you can save a significant amount of money by doing this, then you do normalize Bitcoin. As you said, you love them well with Bitcoin. They start figuring it out, and they're like, man, I want to do this too. I want Bitcoin. I want to use Bitcoin. That's way easier. I can also say that on the back end, we have to currently where we are use a fiat payment system. And I didn't realize until I got into this business how incredibly expensive, slow that the fiat system is. When I transfer money to you over ACH, it takes 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6 or 7 days for it to get to you. Whereas I would do it over Lightning, it's immediate. It's within seconds. And so you can significantly reduce the transaction cost on that on the back end too. So we're trying to take down healthcare and the monetary system at the same time. the two most regulated industries on the planet, probably. But so far, so good.
I love it. Congratulations. So we've just got a few minutes left, and there's, I think, maybe two final ideas I wanted to explore together. And the first one is something that I think about a lot. Effectively, that everything worth doing is hard. Not very much that is worthwhile is found via an easy path. And in my own sporting experience, I used to be a rugby player and an athlete. And then as I got older, fatter and slower, I started powerlifting. But deadlifting is a great way of teaching you humility, I think. And so is Bitcoin. And as we were chatting backstage, you can't fake a deadlift. You can't fake Bitcoin. They're things that cannot be forged or easily achieved. And obviously, we know that the entire proof of work system is crucial to why we think Bitcoin is so important. And maybe just a quick thought from each of you on how you apply that in your own lives.
Yeah, I'll make it quick. You're absolutely right. The things in my life that are hard, if I can delay gratification for even a little bit, I will come out on the back end better. If I can get in a cold plunge, it's miserable for 60 seconds, and then you feel like $1 million. The sauna sucks when it's 170 degrees, but then you feel amazing for the rest of the week, right? When I go in to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and I get my butt whooped, I'm then better on the other side for it, right? When I invest and buy Bitcoin and then the price dips the very next day, but then I hold on to it, I'm then better on the other side when it's at 106, 110,000, and my buying power continues to go up over time. I actually wrote about, in the book Parallel, I wrote about crowd health, an entire section about disempowering, what you guys are doing with disempowering the healthcare system. Every time that we vote with our dollars or our money, it actually has the power of two. So don't think of your money as money. Think of your money as a vote. And every day is election day. You have the vote every single day. So right now, your fiat dollar goes to the existing medical system. When we vote with Bitcoin, we're removing that vote from the existing system, -1 vote for them, +1 vote for Bitcoin. So it has the power of two every time you can do that. That's true for your health. It's true for your fitness. It's true for your money. It's true for disempowering establishments. And hard things are going to be the way we get there.
Yeah, like Bitcoin's hard. Noster's hard. It just takes a little bit of learning, and that learning curve, actually doing it and taking your private keys, taking everything off the exchange. And you're making me think with the proof of work, with the deadlifts and everything. It's this Jordan Peterson quote comes into my mind. It's, meaning is found at the border of chaos and order. And when I go surf, there's sometimes the waves are so damn big that I'm so scared. But I know if I actually go out there and do the thing, I'll come back so much happier. And it's just like walking that line throughout life keeps you engaged and choosing which battles that you want to fight, which mountains to climb. Like, Noster is a huge mountain to climb that we want to disempower the big social media companies. It's awesome, but we got time, and we've got like a collective group of people together like we have here that is just a giant mastermind, and it's going to happen over time if we put the work in.
Yeah, I agree. Nothing of significance is accomplished without a little hard work. So I think the biggest challenge for us in our business is people are like, hold on, wait, what? You want me to be uninsured? Like, everybody in society is telling me that's bad. We've been conditioned since we were kids to say, you have to have insurance. You have to have insurance. In essence, you're relying on somebody else to take care of your need. And so, what we say is like, look, these are the same things that you hear from your family members when you talk to them about Bitcoin. It's too hard. It's too different. It's a high time preference mentality so that, if we can get Bitcoins, I truly believe Bitcoiners can take down the healthcare system. I truly believe we can do that. So, it just takes a few thousand of us to get together and start doing this to make radical changes to a system that's almost as bad, if not worse, than the monetary system. So it's a little bit different. It's a little bit harder in some cases, but let's take a low time preference, outlook on life. And I truly believe over the long run, our healthcare system will be much, much better if the relationship is truly between us and our doctors, without your government, without your corporations, without, your insurance companies in between. When you walk into your doctor and you say, hey, I'm going to pay you directly, there is a relief. They're like, really? Like, we can make the decisions, just the two of us? Yes, the decision on your health should be between you and your doctor without any other organizations getting in between. And that's different and it's a little harder sometimes, but man, isn't it worthwhile for your health to have the relationship, the doctor-patient relationship reestablished? And that's really what we're fighting for.
Fantastic. Thank you. So we are nearly out of time. Oh, one question, very quick question. Oh.
Can the medical professionals reduce their insurance? I don't know the answer to that, honestly. I know that the medical professionals, for every doctor, there's 3 people that are billing for that doctor, which is crazy to me. These doctors spend 2 days out of their week fighting with health insurance plans to get paid. Imagine if you had to fight with your employer to get paid, for 2 days out of the week to get paid. And so what we're just trying to do is make it easier on these doctors so that they can rip out those expenses. And I do think ultimately you're going to have better care between you and your doctor, and therefore will reduce your medical liability as a result of that. So I think there are kind of secondary and tertiary, outcomes of paying your doctor directly.
Thank you. Right, we are very nearly out of time. So very, very quickly, just one thought from each of you. Bitcoin can be an intimidating space for a newcomer. And just wanted to get a very, very quick thought from each of you. What advice would you give to someone who's looking to maybe have a lower time preference and to take more personal responsibility over their lives and their money?
It's baby steps. If you had, everybody comes to us and says, how do I get into Bitcoin? I've never been in Bitcoin. I have $10,000. What should I do? Don't take your $10,000 and buy Bitcoin. Start buying dollar cost averaging. Do the same thing with your health. If you feel like you're a million miles away from living a healthy lifestyle, you don't need to be a triathlete tomorrow. You need to get a win tomorrow. You need to get a win today. Same thing with Bitcoin, same thing with health. Baby steps will build into a mountain.
Fantastic. Thank you.
I would just say, come hang out in the jungle, sun your junk, and come play with Bitcoin.
That was good.
Give your family members and friends Bitcoin for birthdays and Christmases. It goes a long way.
Love it. Well, guys, please give it up for our fantastic guests. Thank you so much, everyone. Appreciate it. Thank you.